Good morning, good people. Today we want to discuss about light and dark adaptation in brief. So just in definition, light adaptation is the ability of the eye to adjust in bright light. Within about 1 minute, the cones are sufficiently excited by the bright light to take over. So it's morely when the light adjusts quickly in bright light, like coming from in a dark room, then you go to what? To a light room, and then the dark adaptation is the opposite of such. And then dark adaptation is when the ability of the eye to adapt itself in low illumination after immediate light exposure. Or dark adaptation is the ability of the eye to recover its sensitivity in the dark after being exposed to bright light, making vision possible in a relative darkness. So to some extent is when you're coming from the bright light and then you enter a dark room, and then after a certain period of time, then you adjust. And then such an example is trying to give an example about when you enter a theater, a movie house, coming from outside, that darkness, you need some several minutes or seconds for your vision to recover. That is dark adaptation. And otherwise, when you come out from that side and then you go outside, coming from inside and then you go outside, you will find out you need some certain seconds or some certain time to adjust. Certain an example at a musical show, you see, that's dark adaptation. After 35 minutes, you end up tending to adapt and see clearly more than how you were at the beginning. So, yeah, looking at some of the retina cells for vision, which are very much responsible when you look into dark adaptation, are the rods and cones. The rods is for the dark adaptation, cones are more for the light adaptation. Since they are more sensitive to light, it's just a diagram looking at the, what do you call it, can find out the mesopic luminance range in terms of how far they can go deeper. You find out this one next scotopic, it's more not in the darkness. It's more scotopic. It's more for the what? For the night vision, and then you find out photopic for the daylight vision. That's why you find out the cones are pulling to that side, and then the rods are pulling the other side. And then check the pupil changes during bright and dim light. Find out the iris and the pupil. You find out it constructs when it is in bright light, but when it is in dim light, the pupil dilates, it expands so that it accumulates more, and then it comes to adapt. And also looking at just an expression to look at the sensitivity of that morely, the rods are more sensitive in low illumination than cones. So rods are used more in dark adaptation than cones, which are more effective in light adaptation. And then that's a certain diagram for the dark adaptation, the light energy, excitement of certain nerves, the retina, and then, due to the adaptation. It's more like a cycle of what? The visual cycle. So we have to understand the definition of dark adaptation and light adaptation, just on the basic form of that, and also which retina cells are more to be used. For instance, the rods and cones. Rods are more for the dark adaptation, and the cones are more for the light adaptation. Any questions, we may direct them to our forum. So in the next lesson, we want to look at some certain factors which may influence dark and light adaptation.